So I'm not sure about you guys, but I am still hurting from that brutal loss last night. It's always difficult to come back after a loss like that and get excited for the next game when you have such a defeating week and coming off 3 straight losses. But what's done is done, and now it's time to start looking ahead. And the good news is the Bulls have a much easier schedule in this upcoming week. And that's what we're here to talk about today. So what's going on, everyone? You are listening to Bulls Central here. Hope you're all doing a little bit better than you were last night if you caught the game. I did upload a post-game video last night, which I really didn't want to do after that crushing loss. I was fully prepared to start making a post-game victory video because it's not often you see a team lose after being up 5 with 11 seconds left to go, unless you're the Bulls when they did it to the Hornets last year. But I digress. In today's video, we are previewing the Bulls' schedule for this upcoming week, which is week 7. The Bulls are only playing 2 teams this week, but there'll be 4 games. They'll start off the week with back-to-back games against the Knicks tomorrow and Wednesday, followed by back-to-back games against the Magic on Friday and Saturday. They'll be taking on the Knicks in Chicago and traveling to Orlando for the back half of the week to take on the Magic. Now, as I mentioned, the sign of a mature team is how they bounce back from a heartbreaking or a bad loss. And actually, so far this year, the Bulls have bounced back strong after having crushing, buzzer-beating losses. The loss to the Warriors at the beginning of the season, they responded with a 2-game win streak. And then after that horrible loss against the Thunder where they blew a 20-point lead and a 16-point lead in the 4th quarter, they followed that up with a 3-game win streak. Now, normally, the Knicks have always been seen as this kind of team where it's usually an easy pickup win because the Knicks have always been one of the worst teams in the league. But that's changed a little bit this season. Now that they have Coach Tom Thibodeau running things, and as a Bulls fan, we know all too well, for better or worse, Tibbs is going to have his guys work hard and play tough on defense no matter the level of talent on his team. The Knicks have most recently lost 3 of their last 4, and they sit with a record of 9-11, so I'm not saying they're a good team by any means, but this won't be a cakewalk as it normally would be when you're facing the Knicks. Not only are the Knicks the best defensive team in the league in terms of points allowed, they're also the 4th best rebounding team in the league, and that's something the Bulls are going to struggle with when you don't have a guy like Wendell Carter Jr. And they have some decently talented pieces. RJ Barrett, who, if you remember, was actually the #1 recruit coming out of high school ahead of Zion Williamson. They got Julius Randle, who's been huge for them, averaging over 22 points per game. Now, despite having the best defense in the league, well, on the other side of the coin is they have the worst offense in the league. So really for the Bulls, these 2 games against the Knicks are mainly going to be a challenge because they don't do that well against strong defensive teams because, again, the Bulls have a problem with their turnovers, and teams that play hard-nosed, scrappy defense are going to take advantage of that. That being said, because the Knicks are such a bad team on offense, the Bulls don't have to worry as much about their lack of defense and struggles on that end, again, especially without Wendell. So really my keys for these 2 games against the Knicks, and again, it's not a surprise, nothing new from before, but taking care of the basketball and not letting their defense, the Knicks' defense, forcing easy turnovers. The Bulls are clearly the better offensive team between the 2 and would win easily in a shootout. The question is, can they weather the Knicks' strong defense? Focus on ball movement to get easy offensive setups and clean looks at the basket. That's really the difference maker because you can play mediocre defense against a team like New York and still get a win as long as you can play elite offense, which the Bulls have shown to be capable of. It's just a matter of playing smart basketball, team basketball. Now for the games against the Magic, these are going to be more challenging, and it's not necessarily because the Magic are a better team than the Bulls. The Magic are actually really struggling right now. They're 8-12 and have lost 10 of their last 12. But the problem for the Bulls is locking up Vucevic. When you don't have Wendell, even with Wendell, Vucevic is going to be a problem because he's much bigger than Wendell Carter Jr. and also just a star player who is not only a force in the paint, but is also shooting incredibly well from outside so far this season. So he has that ability to spread the floor. So as much as the Magic are struggling, That's going to be the main problem for the Bulls, is ensuring they can keep him at bay. He's obviously going to get his. The guy is averaging 23 and 11, but ensuring that he doesn't completely dominate and control the game, as I'm sure the Magics will, they'll just continue to feed him in the paint. And then you also have Evan Fournier, who has been really great for them so far this season. And the Bulls need to make sure that they limit his offense, which will primarily be Zach Lavine's responsibility, as I'm sure he'll be the one guarding him. The Magic, like the Knicks, are also struggling. They're a struggling offensive team. They're 28th in the league, and they're not that great on defense as well, 16th in the league in terms of points allowed. So really, it's a matter of limiting, the Vucevic and Fournier as much as they can, making sure they don't get whatever they want on offense. With Vucevic, it's going to be really, really critical for Gafford to play strong physical defense, staying on him. As I've said before, I've still been pretty disappointed in Gafford and not really taking advantage of the fact that Wendell has been out and being placed in that starting role. Now, I don't expect him to get that many minutes even with the start, so the responsibility of guarding Vucevic won't all be on Gafford. Thaddeus Young and Lauri Markkanen, who honestly have been playing pretty great at the 5 when they've been placed there, they need to step up as well, particularly Thaddeus on the defensive end. But the other challenge is none of these guys are the best perimeter defenders, with the exception of Thaddeus Young. He's an okay perimeter defender. So I think as long as Billy Donovan focuses on keeping a bigger lineup on the floor when Vucevic is in, which he plays a lot of minutes, rotating between Thaddeus Young, Lauri, and Gafford, even getting Patrick Williams in on defending him, and limiting Vucevic from getting easy buckets. And if the Bulls can do that, they honestly should be fine and be able to win these games. So as far as my predictions for this week, this might be a bit bold, and I'm usually not this optimistic when predicting games for the Bulls, but I think they're going to sweep this week. They're going to go 4-0 against the Knicks and Magic. Again, if they focus on taking care of the ball and taking advantage of the Knicks' poor offense, and for the Magic, limiting Vucevic and his ability to get easy inside buckets and clean looks from the outside, because he will hit those shots from behind the arc, and if you don't cover him. But if the Bulls can do this and stay focused and not let last night's loss impact their confidence and team morale, then I see this as an easy week for the Bulls to be able to bounce back from a loss like what they just had and win the next 4 straight games. Let me know what you guys think though. What are your predictions for this week? Do you think the Bulls will win all of their games this week, or am I just being a little too optimistic with this one? Let me know in the comments. Also guys, feel free to join our Discord server where we chat Bulls basketball, have live game chats. You can submit your questions for the mailbag, submit your hot takes for the weekly hot takes videos. I upload those every Wednesday, as well as other topics as well we discuss on the Discord. Be sure to subscribe to the channel as well if you're a Bulls fan and you enjoy daily Bulls content. Thanks again for tuning in, guys, and I will catch you in the next one.